Well, to what extent is the well-being of a country's youth a barometer for the state of society at large? Does autocratic governance or geopolitical isolation affect citizens' sense of direction? And can love or friendship save people from the deepest depths of despair, even if temporarily? Well, these are some of the themes explored in the film How to Save a Dead Friend. Marusya Syroechkovskaya is the filmmaker and director behind it. She joins me now on set for perspective. And as a warning to viewers, this interview will touch upon themes that some will find troubling, including depression and addiction. Marusya, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, your film is, of course, a compilation of images that you filmed, mostly of your friend and partner, Kimi, over the span of 12 years. Before you even knew you wanted to make a film, what gave you the urge to document your relationship?
I was very depressed as a teenager, and I didn't know I was depressed, and I didn't know how to ask for help, how to communicate with people, so I used camera. It was my coping mechanism for sure, so I used it to make sense of the world around me.
I think what's interesting about the film is that it's titled, as the title suggests, it's about saving Kimi, but it also feels that the roles reversed. In the beginning, we see you and how depressed you were, and towards the end, it becomes more about Kimi's struggles, both with depression and addiction. Do you also feel like he helped save you in a way?
Yeah, of course. He was there for me when I was feeling really, really bad, and he understood me, and he gave me hope and support, so definitely.
At what point did you know you wanted to transform these images then into a documentary?
2 years after he passed away, I was able to bring myself to rewatch all the footage, and I saw that there is a film inside, and I need to start working.
Was it a difficult process to transform what were just home images at the origin into something that could be palatable for an international audience?
Yes, it was. The main creative challenge was that the material wasn't intended to become a film, and it was also emotionally difficult for me, but it was also bittersweet because I was delaying saying goodbye to Kimi in a way.
You never hesitated about showing something so raw and intimate. I mean, you really capture moments that I imagine, obviously, like you said, were difficult for you to watch, but are also very difficult for an audience to watch.
Well, it's a part of our life, and it's something that I couldn't talk about before, and it was eating me from the inside. So it was important for me to tell the story and to keep going. Also because it's not such a unique story. Unfortunately, it happens to a lot of people. So I hope that maybe it will help to someone else.
And it's also interesting that the title. I want to delve in on the title. Do you think that your film ultimately saved Kimi or permitted him at least to live a little bit longer?
Well, as I see it, I was trying to save the memory of him. And for me, filmmaking, especially documentary filmmaking, it's a medium that keeps people in the same space. And it doesn't matter if they passed away or not, they're here. So that's the beauty of this medium for me.
And I understand that part of the technology that you used allowed you to link images that you had of him with sound and music. Tell us more about that process.
Yeah, it's a sonification application called Voices, and what it does, it transforms the visuals into sounds, and you can use it as a musical instrument. So when I'm touching the iPad in the film, I'm playing on these videos of Kimi, and I'm creating music out of it.
And we do see that happening a few times in the movie. The themes you touch upon, depression, addiction, difficulty finding direction in life, are obviously universal. I imagine many viewers have had firsthand experience with these things. But you do also start with a quote about how people say that Russia is for Russians. You kind of laugh and say, no, Russia is for the depressed. Is there anything specifically Russian about Kimi's and your own experience?
I mean, it happens in Russia. There is a time and place for everything that happened to us. And there were some things that affected us directly and indirectly that were happening in the country. So there's so many problems in Russia. The mental health care is not easily accessible, and stigmatization of people who have mental illness or who do drugs or have alcohol abuse. There's so many things that's not working properly.
Still a taboo then, mental illness and addiction. There are rather subtle references to Russian politics throughout the film. There's some archival images of Yeltsin stepping down, Putin taking over. There's yearly Christmas addresses. But I think one of the most striking kind of subtle political moments is where you're talking about Kimmy's illness, the medicines that he takes, his struggles with addiction. And then the images that we see as you're talking about that are those of Russian police arresting protesters at a rally against political prisoners. What relationship do you draw between, if any really, between Kimmy's struggles and those images that you had there?
There is also a scene when Kimmy is in the hospital and he says that no matter what you say, they will keep giving you meds, and if it doesn't matter if it works or if it doesn't, and if you will start to speak up, they will double the dose or put you on a drip. So you better not to say anything and stay silent. That's what they want, and they have all the power. So I feel like it's like a metaphor, for what's happening in Russia, unfortunately, or what's happening for many years.
Has your film been shown in Russia at all?
No, it hasn't, unfortunately. It's important to me to show it in Russia, but for now, I'm not sure how and when and where it will be shown there.
What about for Kimmy's family? We see quite a bit of his mother, of his brother, a little bit of his sister. Have they seen it?
Kimmy's brother saw the film and he liked it, and Kimmy's mom said that it's too painful for her and she doesn't want to watch it, and of course I understand and respect that.
I can imagine. So you left Russia last year to turn to you a little bit. What ultimately led you to make that decision?
Just since the war started, it became very, very, very repressive place, very fast. I mean, it was repressive before, as you can see in the film, but now it's a different place, absolutely.
I know that the movie is obviously primarily about Kimmy and your relationship to him, but is it purposeful that it's not explicitly political?
I mean, for me, it is political. For like personal is political and mental is political. So, but I wanted to concentrate on our story, and it was important to tell about Kimmy, to make all the people who didn't have a chance to meet him while he was alive to let him meet him now. To kind of expand upon the themes that you do explore in your movie, just in terms of depression, addiction, what legacy do you think that the war in Ukraine will have on Russia's youth? What do you think things would have looked like had this movie been filmed today or over the past year? It would be a different film, for sure. I think it's the same country, of course, but it changed so much, and what's happening now, it's just terrible and devastating. Whew, yeah.
Do you think that this same counterculture, punk and the grunge scene, just counterculture in general, obviously played a huge part of both of your youths, and we really see that in the movie. Do you think that there's still space for a culture like that to exist in Russia today?
There is a space, but people are, some people self-censor themselves because they can go to prison for saying something and to singing songs, and it happened before, so it's a difficult place to express yourself now.
That indeed, and perhaps with no real end in sight. Maybe as a final question for you, Marusya, do you have any plans for new films in the future?
I have a couple of ideas. I want to continue working in documentary filmmaking, maybe hybrids, and I want to make personal films, maybe without me being there. But I love personal art.
It works so well for this project. Really excited to keep an eye on what you'll be doing. Marusya, thank you so much for coming on the show today, and congratulations for your spectacular film.
Thank you so much.